Zero suit that I mentioned. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted at all.
I think they did mention this to each other in chat earlier on, folks. That's why you read it. So let's go. Welcome to Winners Finals here at Fusion.exe at Spawning Grands. On the line, Sensei breaking out the red-clad ZSS, as we have come to expect from Sensei in the past few weeks. WebbJP going Lucina, oddly enough. So they're not going to go with the ZSS Ditto this time. This is not DNA. That happened to be Grands last week.
All right, well, it's Winners Finals here. Let's see how it pans out for both these players. I feel like Zero Suit has the speed to sort of mitigate a lot of what makes Lucina so oppressive of a character, I suppose. Like, she's able to occupy space really quickly, and it may not be anything super special, but behind good decision-making, Lucina can be truly devastating. Zero Suit, though, has a lot of ways of just getting out of these tricky situations. Just has to do something once, like, Sensei gets to actually play the game. Look how fast this damage builds up. And that'll do it. Okay.
Well, yeah, quick little trade of stocks. Why not? Nothing like doing a few stocks on a Monday night, so.
They're going to be quick if it's, both of these players. May not be their main characters, but still their styles of play pretty evident through how they're opting to fight against each other. They're right down each other's throats. They're constantly swinging, and they're being very smart about how they swing.
Yeah, honestly, it's, I mean, that's the thing. Both of these guys know just how good they are with their punish games. Just because Sensei is a snake doesn't mean he's always sitting back and throwing out projectiles like you see a lot of the bigger ones do. This is a very in-your-face, very practiced boxing snake, and we've seen some pretty sick stuff from him thus far. I have to say though, thus far on the
That's
ZSS,
not how that works.
no, not even a little bit. My gosh, that is a treacherous mistake there from WebbJP, and maybe not the right word to use, but then again, that wasn't the right input to put on his part. So Sensei right now with a slight advantage really is just one up B away, so I understand WebbJP going for that. The flip kick to get back to advantage, and WebbJP maybe not committing to the edge guard enough or not committing to the stage enough. I felt like he just kind of Webb just sort of keeps oscillating between the two and is ready to cover both necessarily, but maybe not as hungry for the kill as I'd like to see myself. I'm wondering what your opinion on that is, though.
I think just trying to play things a bit more patiently would be more suited to Lucina, and especially given the fact that your opponent is Zero Suit Samus. Like, Zero Suit is going to be moving around a ton, and it's, I think, a very fitting character to Sensei's playstyle because he's just a very mobile player. Like, he's constantly moving around. It's nothing new. And taking game one, it's nothing new for Sensei either. Although this is a Winners Finals, so there's definitely more important numbers on the board. Yeah, I'm still waiting for WebbJP to make a believer out of me when it comes to this Lucina. I'm not convinced from that first game.
Yeah, I think it is definitely a work in progress, and I wouldn't even necessarily say that he played a bad game, because I think that's pretty obviously not the case. Really more just right now this ZSS has more miles on it than the Lucina does on Webb, or Webb does on the Lucina rather. So if we go back Pokemon Stadium for game number 2, Zaire is right at the start. So yeah, how does it feel getting smacked around by a Zaire in midair? WebbJP, please let us know.
It's probably one of the safer poke options that Sensei has at his disposal. Because everything else I can think of is either at risk of being betrayed with or just getting beaten out. No, it's Paralyzer Bolt.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, just because of the length that it has on it, you might as well just go for it. Tries to extend it out yet again. It's caught by the up smash. WebbJP trying to maintain that stage advantage. Sensei, having none of it, gets caught on the flip, however. One swing of the sword is generally all it takes. Webb, that evenly distributed damage coming in handy. Not having to worry about spacing. You just got to hit the target. And whatever happens after that is left to the gods in the sky. And that's exactly where Sensei's going to go for that first stock. But JP right now with the ever so slight advantage. But that can change with one crack of the plasma whip.
Yeah, I'm not here for the side B usage. I see Sensei trying to use it to try and cover some tech options and some poor spacing. I feel like it needs to be used a little bit more aggressively than that. As far as reactionary tools are concerned, I feel like the down smash to stun is probably one of your best bets, or hell, even down tilt to a certain extent. Nonetheless, Sensei manages to pick off his kill, see if he can bring back the damage to take some of this match more in his favor. And I'm actually shocked that these down air landings aren't being punished any heavier. Oh, now he'd be swinging. That's the type of aggression I'm trying to see, but let's try and make some of those hits connect.
Yeah, and that's generally what precludes that strategy's success, is it not?
I mean, yes, like you want to press those buttons, but it don't mean much if they're not making contact.
Yeah, that's that was kind of my general sense of it, but I didn't want to speak out of turn or nothing. So, WebbJP throwing in those nairs, I do kind of like it. Trying to space yourself out just a little bit more. Lucina, obviously the echo of the original zoner, Marth, but zoning has become a very different thing here, I suppose, and as Smash has evolved and grown and gotten more and more projectiles as the game has expanded into the absolute monolith it is today. That up throw is going to kill at around 170-something%. Might have gotten it just a little bit before that, though.
Keep on trying to kick each other to the ledge. This is kind of a mess. I do like how much Sensei is using the forward air, though, to press. Like, it's leading to a pretty considerable amount of damage throughout the past couple of games, and it's keeping what I would call more important moves fresh for when they're necessary.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. At the same time, I mean, Webb is doing a pretty decent job of trying to get these scooping back airs as well. Not even necessarily for the sake of hitting, but really just trying to keep that ZSS away for as long as possible. Certainly,
yeah, Lucina's Bear is an excellent call-out move, especially against more wily characters like Zero Suit. Like,
yeah,
you want that quick option, and you're not setting it up into a kill just yet. You might as well just keep the numbers going. Speaking of, look at that, some quick damage from Sensei.
Yeah, you're sending the. I mean, just with the nature of that hitbox, you're sending that character just above you, so you're not really in danger of being hit with anything afterwards. Makes it really good defensively. And if it is kept in front of you, then you get a chance to follow it up. Sensei, however, boost kick into the corner. That's going to take game number 2 for the. You know, you might have been complaining about not seeing the snake, but are you liking this ZSS so far?
He played out of the corner really well in that the last like 45 seconds or so of that game 2. Things were looking too hot for Sensei, but he fought that all the way back.
There's no giving the kid, that is for darn sure. And WebbJP sticking with the Lucina. And this
hey, at least he's a man of his word. He did say he wanted this.
I mean, how badly, though, is the real question. So,
yeah, worst case scenario, WebbJP can try and run things back in brains.
certainly capable of doing it. I mean, I'm guessing that the thinking is, all right, Sensei, we've already had the ZSS Ditto. That happened, and that wound up putting Sensei in 4th place, or having him finish in 4th place. Hang on a second. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's right. It was in winners semis. Excuse me. I thought it was in losers bracket, but no. This was the winners semifinal matchup, and that got WebbJP into winners against Holopup. But yeah, it was 2-1 to WebbJP. Webb's like, you know what? I got the win in the ZSS Ditto already. I'm satisfied with that. Now let's see how my Lucina does. This is how he levels up. This is the crucible in which warriors are forged right here in these brackets. And WebbJP right now looking to sharpen the...
I still feel like he needs to turn up the heat on that crucible if he's looking to cook with this Lucina. He's got his first kill for Game 3, but he's still looking a little messy with these strikes. That being said, though, he's cleaned up his spacing a lot for what he wants to strike Sensei with. I just think Zero Suit has a lot in her kit for calling out these jump-ins, and we're seeing a lot of jump-ins from them.
I mean, where else are you going to go to sharpen a sword? The Forge. Got you there. But I mistried Station Journeys. But either way, up B, WebbJP going to continue on the offense. Just an absolute warpath being trampled down by WebbJP. Sensei swinging and missing quite a bit, and oh, but just as I say that, WebbJP looking to take that second stock, Sensei says, how about this up B to take my first? Still, though, not a bad position at all. WebbJP reads the foot kick perfectly and finishes it up with an up smash. That had just a little bit of heat on it, Hangman.
That's what I'm looking to see. Okay. A really good call out, too, because time and time again we've seen Sensei use the flip kick to get himself out of disadvantageous positions, and he's been using it pretty smart, too, whenever he wants to go on the offensive. But it does get predictable, and I feel like Stadium has like a very poor spacing from the ledge to give you options to move with flip kick, at least compared to other legal stages. This stage is kind of long if you take the time to realize compared to the rest of the legal stages. And as such, moving around the flip kick from the ledge is a bit harder of a commitment than you would see from other stages, rather. Webb is finally locked onto that. He's playing really well from outside of center stage. In fact, all of this Game 3, Webb is doing a really good job of pushing out from center stage. It's how he's getting a lot of his damage and forcing a lot of these situations where he's netting kills. But Sensei not out of it just yet, gets another stun into the boost kick. And this is kind of what we were looking at in the last game, too. He's at bleeding percentages, gets a couple of good strings, and all of a sudden Sensei robs it away. Are we going to get some deja vu showing here?
Oh, man, we have been to this place before, haven't we? But forward air. Sensei not giving up on this one just yet. This comeback here, looking for the down smash, but committed to it far too early. Luckily, isn't punished too hard for it. WebbJP, I don't know. You take the foot off the gas, and all of a sudden, look at who's passing you. WebbJP needs to finish this off. You're facing off against one of the lighter characters. Granted, very hard to hit, but that didn't seem to stop you before.
Really good timing on the dancing blade. Phenomenal. Okay. All right, there's some life. There's some life breathed into this game from Webb.
Yeah, not keen to give up on it just yet. Pressing the gas down to the floor and looking to speed off, carry this momentum into this game number 4. See if he can drift his way into grand final. But Webb, I'm not really sure. That's a little too close for comfort, at least for me, Hangman.
Like that one was definitely a real close one to call. So like, I feel like slowly Webb is figuring out what he needs to do with approaching with Lucina, and just figuring out his options for doing so. Game 1, I feel like he wasn't taking to the air enough, and when he was doing so to try and be evasive with too much nair. Game 2, I feel like the jump-ins was really hurting him, but he peeled things around. Game 3, finally starting to figure it out more. He's making a lot more impact with each of these interactions as he's running out. As we reach into game 4, I don't know, step by step, Webb is showing that he understands what he needs to do with Lucina. It's different from how I feel like he usually approaches the game when playing with Lucas, but it's not bad. It's just the adaptation taking a bit slow, but if he manages to bring us to a game 5, you know, slow and steady can win this race.
Yeah, no, nothing's completely out of the picture just yet. But WebbJP, gotta say, it was a little close. Just maybe keep that in mind. You want to start running away with this, not get yourself down too hard too early, because you know how Sensei has been. Whenever Sensei has landed these grabs, been so keen to pile up the damage, knowing you don't know how often you're going to get this opportunity, but able to poke with that jumping there, able to outrange that sword, which has a name, I'm sure of it, but it's not coming to me.
The Falchion?
Sure. And the grab, oh man, you really just pressed the grab button twice and got nothing out of it. That's a shame, but this is your chance to punish, and indeed you do. WebbJP up ever so slightly by the thinnest of margins thus far, but looking to add on to it here, unless Sensei has something to say about it.
Too short of a fall, but that's going to be that for that stock. Although I feel like Webb had plenty of impact with it. Very strong opening into this game.
Yeah, all in all, not a bad opening gambit from WebbJP. It's just when you get to this midpoint of the game, are you going to allow Sensei to take over that that negative space where maybe your energy for the opening was? Right now, it does not seem to be the case. WebbJP looking as focused as ever, but Sensei still finding these hits. It's pretty impressive to see them trade these shots back and forth. I don't know, I feel like more of a defensive inclination from either of these two could prove to tip the scale in their favor, but I don't know. I feel like that also kind of puts the advantage into Sensei's corner just by virtue of the character's design.
Like earlier on into this, we were seeing some pretty aggro play from Sensei, and it was working out really well. Here, he's being a lot more evasive, and the numbers aren't lying. Like, it's keeping things close, but I feel like Webb has just got a lot more stage presence because Sensei's been playing so evasively. Like, he's flipping from corner to corner. We're seeing a lot of retreating Zairs, full length at that. Like, Sensei does not want to play this game. He's picking and choosing his battles really carefully. Because of that, he's able to keep the stock lead, but for how much longer at 160 and counting?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was untechable. You had no shot there. WebbJP fighting for his winner's bracket life. Sensei looking to punch his ticket to the grand finals. Will do so by taking the stock. Dash grab, beautifully done by WebbJP, and just gonna try to pile on as much damage as they possibly can, to the point where maybe they can slow this down, and if Sensei really wants to play aggros a little bit more, like, okay, you're more than welcome to try, but I can bat you away with my sword, and you get nothing out of it except, you know, holding on 7 percentage points. And I get to keep catching these flip kicks to a nauseating degree. WebbJP has been calling out the best defensive option that Sensei has this entire match. Except for there, perhaps the opening that you need, but there is no opening to be found when at the door is waiting another dancing blade. WebbJP survives, and on we go to game 5.
Well done. That's all I've got to say, honestly. I feel like it's like I mentioned coming into this game 4. Webb is step by step figured out how he needs to approach fighting Sensei Zero Suit. And I'm not going to lie, it was looking kind of bumpy in the very beginning. But now he seems to have a very strong footing on how to keep Sensei from landing without paying the price of a little bit of percentage. And on top of that, like, he's making a lot of these interactions count a lot heavier. He's getting a lot of damage. And if he's not getting too much damage, he's nailing stage control beat for beat. Like, every one of those interactions was because Sensei was forced to go from ledge to ledge to ledge. Anytime the two met, we saw Webb fighting things out really well. So if he keeps this up, theoretically, he should be taking the set 3-2 to Sensei, but will Sensei allow it? Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's so strange. I mean, if you told me that ZSS and Lucina were fighting in Grands, or fighting really even in Winners Final, you're thinking of the usual suspects when it comes to those characters in Tri-State. You're not really thinking of Sensei and WebbJP. So I mean, just kind of tells you the sort of world that we are living in here. It is a very strange one and a very very new one for all of us. But even as we come into Game 5, starting off here, quick advantage over to WebbJP, but Sensei again proving that he has the tools to fight back. WebbJP's adaptability, though, has proven to be the absolute saving grace for the Lucas main, who apparently not only has a pretty decent ZSS, but also Lucina that could prove capable of winning the tournament here, Hangman.
Even though I vocalized my doubts, I did say earlier that WebbJP has a very strong sense of the fundamentals. Like, he has a very good idea of what is necessary to just perform well in Smash. So I'm not too surprised to see Lucina pick up. It took a bit to warm up, but it's looking hot here. And it's taking the first stock in Game 5. Once again, calling out that flip kick. You brought this up earlier, but Webb doing such a good job of making these flip kicks be a hefty cost for Sensei to say over and over and over.
Yeah, it sure seems like that, but either way, WebbJP at 157%. This is one of the trickier leads to gauge in all of Smash, because really all it takes is one big hit and one big combo, and all of a sudden Sensei finds himself right back in this thing. So there's the one big hit. So let's see how the rest of this plays out. WebbJP trying to ascertain exactly what he has in this two stock apiece situation. Flip kick being used on the offensive this time. Shoes not on the other foot, however. Sensei not going to be able to get a whole lot out of that, except very, very close to making this about a draw. And thus far, advantage now to Sensei, keeping WebbJP off the stage. But out comes that up B. Oh, it's so tricky to have to deal with that.
So, for those of you who aren't aware, the actual, like, hitbox, so to speak, of the grab is really sad for Lucina. It, like, just barely extends past her knuckles. It's actually a lot more inward between, like, where her hand is grabbing and her hips. So, like, there's not a lot of range to speak there.
Yeah, so good luck establishing grab is what you're trying to say, especially against that there.
Like,
I mean, if you can punish it.
Lucina's able to pressure shield so well, so you would think that getting the grabs would be a cinch, but the spacing on it's so peculiar, it's just a shame.
That's why it's one of those things that makes you think, oh yeah, Lucina's a top tier, and that was kind of what everyone was theorizing when the game started out. But that's the thing about theories, is that they're theories, and theories need to be proven. And while Lucina has definitely gotten some decent results, certainly helped out Tri-State in that crew battle, Let's Make Big Moves, what feels like 10 years ago, I've been told is only 8 months. As WebbJP makes this a one-stock game between these two warriors, one stock to settle it, a trip to Grands on the line. On the Lucina of WebbJP and the ZSS of Sensei, it feels like a fever dream. Even saying that, but even more quickly than that hallucination pops up, does WebbJP establish a resounding lead thus far, Hangman?
Look on Sensei, look at that, 104 and counting, right out the gate for these final stocks. Zero has the opportunity to take stocks early, but we really haven't seen Sensei try to express that with this character so far. These max distance moves doing a good job for at least trying to attack the damage on tit for tat, but Webb has been so fast with how he's damaging. It's super hard if he's going to be able to pick that back up. In fact, he's not going to be able to. The reverse 3-0 from WebbJP. This Lucina proving its worth as it secures its spot in Grand Finals tonight.